Okay, one more reading for today. Again, Gods of the Bible. And we just completed Walking with the Elohim. And now we're going to start on page 109. And this one is the appointment of Enoch. All right, the appointment of Enoch. The relationship between the Adamites and the Elohim at the time of Jared and Enoch was one of continuous concrete and physical contact. Some people traveled with the Elohim, while the sons of the hold on, was that right? I need to make sure I got it right. Let me read that sentence again. The relationship between the Adamites and the Elohim at the time of Jared and Enoch was one of continuous concrete and physical contact. Some people traveled with the Elohim, while the sons of the Elohim came down and took for themselves the women they liked. A lot was happening. This picture emerges from the Bible itself only if we report what is written in Hebrew instead of making up translations to fit a priori theological perspective and beliefs. It is also interesting to note that the Italian commentators of the Talmud says that Noah was not a Hebrew, and this is why Noah's covenant with God is important. Both Enoch and Noah traveled back and forth with the Elohim, and in these travels, Enoch was brought before the great leader of the empire, commonly referred to as God. What happens then? Enoch is anointed by the hand of Michael, the archangel, the archchristagius, commander of the army. The ruler of the empire commands Michael to take Enoch, strip him of his earthly garments, anoint him with holy oil, and clothe him with robes of glory. The oil appeared like a great light, its anointing oil like the beneficent dew, its fragrance like myrrh, and its rays like the sun. I looked at myself, and I was like one of the glorious ones. This ritual is of no little importance. From the custom of anointing someone derives the concept of Messiah, which literally means the anointed one. This idea is then passed on to the New Testament. The very term Christ, Christos, means anointed one, and refers to the word root Mashiach, or Messiah. This word has evolved over the centuries to take on a symbolic meaning. When 2 drops of oil were poured on someone's head, he was considered anointed as king or special messenger. He was a Messiah. But let us look more closely at the meaning behind the word Mashiach. The Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew and English lexicon provides the following meaning for the verb Mashiach: to wipe, brush, cleanse, smear, anoint, i.e., to wipe, rub to cleanse, smear until it smears. It is much more than spilling a drop. The Strong's Hebrew Dictionary of the Bible for the verb mashak lists to rub with oil, conveying the idea almost of something done with particular violence. Strong. The Comprehensive Etymological Dictionary defines it as smash, and the sense of to hit, to spread, to smear. The Lexicon Hebraicum Veteris Testamente, the Hebrew Latin Dictionary of the Pontifical Bible Institute in Rome, defines the verb Mashiach with the Latin levo, ablevo. The meaning that emerges from all these definitions is that this verb is closer to a physical activity in which a person is taken, stripped, rubbed, washed, and anointed with oil to the point that he is almost disfigured. This action differs from spilling 2 symbolic drops on someone's head. In this particular context, this procedure may have protected the Elohim and thus maintained a distance, or at least a sterile situation, between them and the person brought into their presence. It was a hygienic and sanitary act of prevention. Let us look at what is written, for example, about the anointing of those who were allowed to enter Yahweh's temple. And this is Exodus 30, verses 20 through to 25. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Take the following 5 spices, fine spices, 500 shekels of liquid myrrh, half as much, that is 250 shekels, a fragrant cinnamon, 200 shekels of fragrant calamus, 500 shekels of cassia, according to all sanctuary shekel, and a hin of olive oil. Make these into a sacred anointing oil, a fragrant blend, the work of a perfumer. It will be the sacred anointing oil." The Bible specifies that the final product must be the work of someone, a perfumer, who can actually and physically produce mixture according to a specific recipe. This perfume must be prepared in a certain way and be used in a particular manner. The use of this mixture is not a symbolic act. Exodus 30, 26 through 30. Use it to anoint the tent of meeting, the ark of the covenant law, the table and all its articles, the lampstand and its accessories, the altar of incense, the altar of burnt offerings and all its utensils, and the basin with its stand. You shall consecrate them so that they will be most holy, and whatever touches them will be holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons, and consecrate them so they may serve me as priests. All these spices used to prepare the mixture are known for their antibacterial, antimicrobial, and antiseptic properties. So when we put these spices together with a full range of meanings we have seen in these dictionaries, we understand that anointing someone was not simply it wasn't simply a symbolic act. Not was it merely a matter of putting the spices in water, which would have been enough if the mixture served to sprinkle 2 drops on someone's head symbolically. Instead, the spices had to be soaked in oil because it made it possible to cover and anoint all objects inside the temple and the clothes and the bodies of the people who entered the sanctuary. This means that those who entered the temple had to remove their robes, rub them off, and sprinkle them with oil until they were covered and smeared with the prepared mixture. All of this happened over centuries when hundreds of Adamites lived together in close contact with the Elohim, just as the Greek myths describe the famous Golden Age when men and gods lived together. Some Adamites and the so-called gods lived and traveled together. The gods came down and united with women. The gods selected certain privileged people and treated them in a special way. We have just mentioned Enoch's anointing, took them in their flying machines, and assigned them particular tasks. If we trust these ancient authors and pretend that what they told us is real, we will discover a period in the history of humanity when extraordinary things happened. Ezekiel, Elijah, and Zechariah tell of flying machines. Ezekiel in particular tells of his travels with these flying machines. We will deal with this topic in the following chapters, especially in chapters 13 and 14. But first we need to address another aspect of the Great Descent, which requires a whole new chapter: giants. Wow. And again, guys, I have read a lot of this stuff, and by reading this book, it's putting the pieces together, especially about walking with the Elohim. And yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop. That's the end of this particular chapter. And this was the chapter about back and forth with the Elohim. So we just completed that chapter, which was chapter 6. Now we're on chapter 7. We're going to start next time on page 113. And this subtitle is The Giants. That's going to be exciting. The Giants. All right, I'll see you guys next time.